I knew that there was more out there for me. So whenever I was looking around for that right vehicle, you hear people all the time talk about that vehicle. It was, let me find a vehicle that if I put my time and effort into it, and I can create my own schedule, I can create my own destiny, right? I saw that. And a lot of people talk about real estate. Of course, I looked at real estate, but for what I've accomplished already here, it would have taken me, I've been here for 2 years, almost 2 years. But for what it would have taken me, it would have taken me over a decade to accomplish that in real estate. Just complete transparency. I mean, I did the numbers every which way from sideways. I have a couple friends of mine that I speak to all the time that's in real estate. And I knew that the financial service industry was a vehicle that I could get there a lot quicker. I could get there faster.
Everybody, Grady Polson here, Family First Life America. So excited to have Mr. Cody Fuller on with us from FFL Blue Collar, about the most manly team name you could have. Just like we have oil under our nails. That's Cody's team name. Just, we're men. So just come on. And but Cody's been with us for going on maybe a year now, year and a half or so. Come out the gate swinging with production. But he now has turned the corner from just a good producer to a great producer and a great leader. His agency now this year should protect almost 6,000 families enrolling, 500 families a month his agency's protecting. And he's building an office, he's building a team, and he's focused on the future. And every time I get to talk to him, I enjoy our conversations because he's one of those guys that's obviously always positive, because there's rare leadership that you will spend time with talking that focuses on anything negative. Because if it's negative, I either need to eliminate it, and I understand I can't control it. But if I focus on what's positive, then let's just keep moving forward. So to get a chance to spend time with him, but to get a chance for you all to learn from him, this is going to be a tremendous call. So without further ado, how you doing today, Cody?
I'm doing great. It's an honor to be on here with you, because when I first started, I used to honestly fall asleep, listening to the podcast and the YouTubes, right? All the YouTube videos. And my first 2 weeks, it takes me back to that. That's what I did. I became obsessed. And you had so much content out there. That was you and Jordan Lowery and people like Alexander Strait. Y'all were everywhere, all over YouTube, man, just training agents, and putting faith in.
Trying, man. It's just, I had an old mentor, and he's like, I'm the laziest. He was very successful, and he's like, he's like, I will work as, he's like, no, how do you say it? He's like, I'm the laziest person I'll ever meet, but I'll work as hard as possible to going back to being lazy. And I think he's just a play on words, trying to dumb down his success. And I don't think in any way, shape, or form I'm lazy, but I try to take that mindset and go, I can spend one-on-one 30 minutes with one agent, or I can spend 30 minutes with one agent and record it. And now we can help thousands of agents. And that just to me made sense early on. I just said, if I'm going to spend the time learning or coaching, why not record it so we can let others grow? And I think that, our YouTube channel's got, I don't know if it's millions, but hundreds of thousands of views now. And the whole goal is just to put people in a better mindset and position and give them something new to learn from, right? Are our words going to be that long-term impactful? I hope so. But if not, maybe it'll give them new perspective. They can make better decisions going forward. I won't listen to that guy anymore, or I'll go dig into more of his stuff. Either I'm okay with, So I appreciate that, buddy. So give us some backstory for those that don't know you and go, 40 families a month, 500 families as an agency. Where'd this guy come from? How do you find insurance? And just love some clarity, right? Give us some backstory on who Cody Fuller is.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Eastern Kentucky. And people who know me hear me talk about that quite a bit. It's where the office is at. It's where Mr. Jordan Lowery's at right now. Being being born and raised in Eastern Kentucky, I grew up blue collar. My whole family was blue collar. It just made sense for the agency to be called that. You know, we just worked for everything. Like literally everything. This is the greatest area in the country. I absolutely love this area because of that. Just a lot of hardworking, hard nosed people that just roll their sleeves up and go to work. So I was born and raised there. Grew up, on a farm. Both my grandpas had farms too. Um, and then I joined the military at 18. And that's where a lot of my discipline came from. But I played sports competitively all through school. Um, but joined the military. And then after that, I did over a decade in law enforcement. Um, and I was a third generation law enforcement officer. So it's kind of all I knew, if that makes sense. Was the military, tons of veterans in my family, and then the military, or then law enforcement. And so that's what I did. That's what I knew. And I guess looking back on it, I could say I developed skills for this industry from law enforcement, from the military, the discipline and the structure, but also the communication skills from being a police officer for that long and talking to people and dealing with situations. I had moved out west and I'd constantly leveled up my life in the realm of my law enforcement career, right? And I'd kind of hit the pinnacle. I mean, outside of running for sheriff, like I was like there wasn't a lot there at the end of the tunnel, for me to accomplish. And I knew that, for my family and generational family, that I had something in me that was knocking on the door all the time that said, you can go out and accomplish something great. And it wasn't that what I did wasn't great, but I knew that there was more out there for me. So whenever I was looking around for that right vehicle, you hear people all the time talk about that vehicle. It was, let me find a vehicle that if I put my time and effort into it, and I can create my own schedule, I can create my own destiny, right? I saw that. And a lot of people talk about real estate. Of course, I looked at real estate, but for what I've accomplished already here, it would have taken me, I've been here for 2 years, almost 2 years. But for what it would have taken me, it would have taken me over a decade to accomplish that in real estate, just complete transparency. I mean, I did the numbers every which way from sideways. I have a couple friends of mine that I speak to all the time that's in real estate. And I knew that the financial service industry was a vehicle that I could get there a lot quicker. I could get there faster, right? But also I could serve and help people while doing it. That was the same thing that resonated with me. I could bring people along that journey with me, and I could train and teach and coach them as well. Being with a sports background and a competitive background of that nature, right? Coaching and training has always, been a big part of what I loved. And just educating people, providing knowledge, providing value. So in the military, I was an instructor for multiple things, always volunteered for that. And in law enforcement, I was a training officer. So I would sit in the passenger seat with a brand new police officer that would come in, and I had a decade of experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I loved to take a brand new police officer fresh off the streets and train them, right? And then watch them graduate the police academy and go out on their own. There was nothing gave me greater joy than doing that, helping people, reach those goals. So once I got really rolling here, I saw that plain as day, like plain as day. I can help people here. So that's what took me from learning how to produce and doing that to taking me into building an agency, if that makes sense.
Oh, it's agreed. I mean, you're groomed for it, to agree, of coaching people in a far more stressful law enforcement. I would think would be, I don't have a number, infinitesimally more stressful and with ramifications than door knocking a neighborhood with a dog, right? There's just a lot more that could happen there. And I'm beyond grateful for your service. But even more grateful to have you as part of our team. And I think that you make a good point about the financial services industry, which is it pairs to business principles in general, right? Find a problem and solve it, right? A problem is people don't understand insurance. People don't understand finances as well as they should. They maybe, watch a Dave Ramsey podcast and go, pay down your most expensive, your highest interest rate credit cards first, and then pay off your car. And, that's like, and not that we're out here we're CFPs and CPAs and whatnot, but money management is confusing. And death is confusing, and insurance is confusing. And where things are confusing, when we can, as brokers, can offer clarity, there's opportunity. And that's what's exciting about what we've created at FFL. And what you see so simply is, let me just go arm in arm with a guy for a week or so. You just listen to what I say. That makes sense. Any questions? No. Take good notes. Now, could you repeat it? All right, let's practice a couple of times. Okay, kick him in the butt. You're on your own. Like at some point we got to kick him out the nest. But the reality, though, is understanding that that's where opportunity lies, is because not everyone can understand this, right? They always talk about insurance carriers going DTC, direct to consumer, right? There's literally none that are doing any significant amount of volume that go direct where you buy from the insurance carrier. Why? Because this is an emotional purchase, right? Me talking about, Bob and Betty. Bob, you understand if Betty doesn't go home tomorrow, you're not going to be able to afford the mortgage because, you run a lawnmower business where you have 12 clients and she works the bank, right? So we got to take care of Betty, right? And the understanding of that is that if we don't help them understand that as bringing forth the heartfelt emotion in front of them, they're going to keep going by thinking that work policy she has at the bank is going to be there when she retires and on and on. So I'm excited. Yeah. But I hear it. I see it. I love your perspective as to how you're able to build so fast, is because you talk to me about these very simple principles. So talk to us about what you do now from leads. Cause I know, 2022, here we sit now on the cusp of 2023. And there's many people that have gone virtual. There's many people that still love going in home. What is your opinion and perspective on that? And then what leads do you run and get new agents started with? So a couple part question there.
Well, first off, I want to hit on perspective, right? Sean Mike really, he took my, the fire in my eyes. He saw it the first time I ever met him. And he brought up a lot of, how should I put it? He said, you know what? We're not out here roofing houses, and we're not out here crawling underneath houses. This is not hard work. That's hard work. And the perspective for me is when you talk about door knocking, right? I've been in a lot of scary situations in my previous career, knocking on people's doors. Okay. And so when it comes down to someone hand filled out a lead and send it in, you can bet your hind end I'm going to walk up to that door and knock on that door. That's perspective, right? And that's something that I try to teach new agents, and I try to point out. I'm like, look, they're already not your clients, right? What's wrong with going up and knocking on their door? Nothing. But I ran for a year and a half. I ran all in person. I started out my first 9 months. I didn't know there was any other lead other than an internet lead. I really didn't. Like, I had no clue. I didn't know what BPL was, or mortgage protection, or, final expense mail. All I knew was 1 and 3 month internet leads, new internet life lead, and an instant internet lead. That's all I knew. And I knew exactly how much they were, and the counties I ran, how much they produced, and what it was going to take for me to accomplish the goals that I had for myself. Right. And that's how I started. And for 9 months, that's just what I did. I only ran internet leads. I ran 100 to 125 every single dial day. That's a non-negotiable. I picked the phone up and I dialed 25 leads at a time, three times through, and then moved on to the next 25, dialed them three times. So my number was on their caller ID 9 times in an hour and a half. Right. And I took it literal, right? The same way I took my military training and the same way I took my law enforcement training. Because if I took that training and tried to do my own thing, I would have wound up dead.
Yeah.
right? So when someone trains me to do something like this is what you do, this is a non-negotiable. Okay. So we're going to do this. Right. And then as you like, you get lost in the sauce, month 12, like if you're here at month 12 to month 16, because you think you know it all. Right. I thought that I knew it all. With a brand new agent, I couldn't train them what I was doing, like the way I was doing it at 12 months with all the experience that I had, because we do run so many more appointments here, right, than most people in the insurance industry.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a crazy amount of experience at month 12. So with a new agent, I had to break it down to the basics, like completely down. I call it Barney style, breaking it down Barney style. Okay. We're going to take 100 leads. We're going to sit down
Hold
right
on.
here.
What does that
Whether
mean? What is Barney style?
that just completely elementary, like
Like
simple.
the dinosaur?
Yes. That
Got
is a
it. All right.
military,
I mean,
that's a military saying, right? Your
really?
drill sergeant would walk in and be like, hey, this is too confusing for you all. So we're going to break this down Barney style. And it was step by step. Like the way they taught you to pack your rucksack in boot camp was take your left sock and hold it up, put it in your rucksack. Take your right sock, hold it up, put it in your rucksack, right? So that's kind of how I was trained,
Got it.
breaking things down Barney style. So, so when it came down to training new agents, I had to remember to take it back down to the basics. Here's 100 leads, 25 leads, 3 times through. Here's the expectations. Here's how many dials we're going to make a minute. I want you to write down your objections as you get them. I'm here to help you, right? Let's get through the first 100 dials, and then let's go over what that looked like, and then let's move forward. And I found success getting new agents up and going by going back to those basics and breaking that down Barney style, because that's exactly what, for me, that's how I learned. And a lot of people that are on this call that I know that I've spent time with here at convention and other places, it's exactly what we did. Like, that's what we did. It's super basic. So when it comes to getting a new agent up and going, I know that works. So it depends on everyone's situation, right? Do they have the money to invest in virtual leads to where, they may not see, it's harder to see success virtually in the beginning, right? Some people are different and can, but from a numbers perspective and, what I've seen training, I would rather their first, 30 appointments be in the field. And that's just me. Now, other people have done it differently by all means. And if I get a new agent that has to start virtually, if the first 2 weeks they don't find success, then we're going in the field and we're going to take 100 leads and we're going to dial them 25 leads 3 times. And that's what we're going to do. So, and that's what, just breaking it down to the basics, the pure basics, keeping it completely simple. This is the script. I know the script that every one of the agents that come in that I train, I know the script by heart. It's the script that I ended up, just developing through, me booking appointments. And a matter of fact, it came off of your website and I just tweaked a couple things, Grady, right? That worked for me. And then I just train on that, those basics, those fundamental basics, because I want to create a strong foundation. I want to create a strong foundation, and then we can expand from there, because that's what I did. I didn't start traveling around the country and running different lead types and, experimenting with this and that until I had a great foundation and I was good on the phones, right? And then I was confident in the home. So I really like to break things down to that Barney style basics.
So first, that was awesome. I want to hear that script here in a second. Before that, I want a convention commercial or explanation on it, but three more. So currently now, are you in home? Is it kind of, you decide based on the agent, or what do you do to hit your production goals now? Are you still doing in home or a combo or all what is your preference?
I'm all virtual right now,
Okay.
but I'll go in home tomorrow if I need to.
Tell me about, maybe the past few months you were running a lot of in-home. Will you tell some people just a breakdown of what you were doing from a schedule standpoint, the length of it to hit the numbers that you were hitting, and how,
Yeah.
just your opinion on that?
Yeah. So Um, I really just tightened down Thursday. Thursday was dial day. So I dialed all day Thursday. I caught a flight Thursday night at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. Okay. And if I was flying all the way across country, I didn't care. I'd sleep on the plane. Um, but I would fly out 9 o'clock, and let's say it was just a 3 hour flight. I would get to the hotel, and I would get my rental car, get to the hotel, go to sleep. I would wake up at 7, and I would dial from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. And then my first appointment would be 10:30 or 11, right? So that I could hit my appointments. Now this is on Friday. Friday, I ran appointments all day. Saturday, I ran appointments all day. Sunday, anybody who rescheduled with me Friday and Saturday got a Sunday appointment. And I would create a sense of urgency like, hey, I'm not going to be servicing your zip code very much longer. We got to get this taken care of. I just need you on the books Sunday. It's only going to take 10 or 15 minutes. And a lot of my families that I protected came from those Sunday makeup days and I learned that from Willis Hicks, what he was doing. So then on Sundays, that's what I would do. I would show up on Sundays, and I would have some scheduled appointments, and I'd have a bunch of my reschedules, right? I would literally be closing an app, and I would have 2 hours till my flight left, and I would be 30 minutes from the airport. And I would roll out of there, jump in, go straight. I knew to a T whatever rental car facility I was using. I would go to the rental car facility, knew the people by name, would walk up, hand the keys to them, see ya, I'm out. And then I would hop on a plane. I would fly back to the office. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was running virtual, or I would run local to the office. So it just depended on lead flow. Or I may have had a new agent that was showing up to the office that I was training. So if I was going to train a new agent in office, right, then I would do virtual, and I would train a new agent in office, right? But if I wasn't, and I heard that from Zach all the time, if you do enough on the weekends, you can Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday build your agency, right? But I would supplement Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But I always produced insurance and helped families on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday too, whether it was virtual or in home. But I was heavy on the weekends. And then Thursday, it was a different area. I was flying out, you know, and that's the schedule that I consistently ran for right at, pretty much a year.
Wow. It's awesome. I mean, I say wow because I don't hear people working that hard anymore. Like there's just this I woke up and went to the gym and I got a coffee, and then I went to the gym again. And then I dialed for a couple hours, and then I went to the gym again, or I got another coffee. And it's just like the ease at which we have our opportunity lacks the discipline at which the opportunity deserves. And your commitment to, so take best month within that 12-month period of time when you were running like that.
What was my best month?
Families protected month? Would you say, or average? Let's be
48,
average. We don't want to spike it with bests. Let's make
48 families protected, but 48 families protected.
48.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good batch of families, bro. So, okay. So, but that is a disciplined schedule, which gave you a lot of in-person experience, which then allows you to completely know pausing and posture and hands and not into it and into it, right? And it just, and the go, right? You on the phone now, you could almost sell the policy from grunts and exhales.
I can tell by the way they give me the answer. Well, I can visualize when they pause on me having them write down the two options and selecting. I know what the objection's coming because of how much I ran in home. Yes.
And so that's the thing that any new agent here, we're pleading with you just to get at bats, just get up there, get walked, get hit with the ball, get struck out, get an on-base hit. You'll hit some home runs. You'll get hit again with the ball. You'll get hit in the head with the ball. And then guess what? You'll start hitting consistent doubles, right over the shortstop's head. And then you'll just be Cody Fuller, knocking out 40 families from home because you took enough shots to the ribs that now it's you can see the ball better than as good as any elite batter. So I appreciate you sharing with us that, because that's what's necessary for people to understand. Like, do you have to work at the clip at which Cody does? No, but Cody has bigger goals than you, because some of you go, I don't want to work that hard. He's got bigger goals than you. Some go, or have just said, well, Cody went through that schedule, goes, I could do that. I could do that. I want what he has. I could do that. And that, if you said either, it kind of classifies you. Now, can you switch positions? Sure. Can you level up? Can you level down? Of course. But the reality, though, is this is an example set forth by someone who's creating a duplicatable process that is the reason why his agency is growing to the level it is. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I'll add to that is that you're exactly right. To me, you don't have to work like that. But if you come to me and you say, we use this saying around the office, if you want all the smoke, right? You know, like if that's what you want all the smoke, then yeah, I'm going to hit you with that. Like that, like, what are you willing to give up? You know? And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. The key is to be consistent in whatever your goals are. That's the key, is to be consistent. And I wouldn't say that, I had bigger goals than anybody. I just, Sean Mike says it all the time. I don't know. I've always worked. Like I didn't know what to do with myself, like if I wasn't doing this. So, even I would come back from a travel trip and I would be driving home from the airport, and I would turn live transfers on. And if I got one, I would just pull over and take it. I didn't care if I got home at 2 a.m. So what? Like, I didn't care. Like if I got a lot, like I would do anything I could to get my appointment count up. So if somebody does want to be a top producer and they do want to grow an agency, like, to me, that's where the secret sauce is. Like doing whatever it takes to get that appointment count up.
That's awesome. All right, this is the end of part one. Coming up in part two, Cody Fuller protects between 40 and 48 families. Agency doing over 500 families a month, is going to deep dive into his script, what he says to sell insurance virtually. So tune in, find the next video coming out here in the next couple of days, or find it on this channel.